is what's happening with the railways in India. An investigation has been launched into a suspected act of sabotage after the engine of the Nainpur Jabalpur train 05706 collided with an extraneous iron rod that was allegedly placed on the track near the Kacchpura Station. The collision, however, did not result in the derailment of the train. Meanwhile, the railway authorities have now seized 3 iron rods of about 15 feet in length from this spot. However, this is not the first incident to have occurred. Just 3 days ago, it was reported that 22 coaches of the Sabarmati Express had derailed in Kanpur. The way in which the track was tampered with, it seemed as though there was a conspiracy once again to derail the train in a bid to maximize casualties. Considering the number of such plots now and accidents that have taken place, it seems that this goes beyond the theory of bizarre coincidence, and it does seem as though someone is now trying to attack India's railway system. Who could it be, and what really is their motive? We discuss this. We take it forward with our guest, Ms. R.V.S. Mani, former Under Secretary of the MHA. We also have with us Sudhanshu Mani, creator of the Vande Bharat train, and we have with us N.K. Sood, former RAW officer, and Nirmal Kaur, former IPS, with us on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation, if I can, with Mr. Sudhanshu Mani. Mr. Mani, I want to understand firstly your thoughts on the train derailment and other accidents that have taken place just in 2024. At least 7 to 8 major such accidents have been reported. In your assessment, as someone who has been a part of this sector for many decades now, do you feel that this is a pure coincidence that is taking place, or do you feel that there could be some sabotage that now needs to be very thoroughly investigated by our agencies?
First of all, so I'm not fully aware about the recent accident you talked about, so it's a matter of investigation. In case of Sabarmati Express accident near Kanpur, a piece of rail has been found about a meter long, rusted piece. So it's too early to say whether it was sabotage or whether it was left over by maintenance staff themselves, or whether it was the cause of the derailment itself. It's too early. I can only say that right after Balasore, there is a tendency to, even before the investigation starts, to look for sabotage. In none of these cases, the Gonda accident in UP recently, in Balasore, a couple others, sabotage was not found to be a reason. I think it is a little bit of a tendency, as I said, to jump the gun. I'm not saying that sabotage has not taken place. It's a matter of investigation. That's one as regards sabotage. As regards the number of accidents, let me tell you, it's not a question of data here, because casualties have happened, and even one death, somebody losing his life, is quite tragic. But the number of accidents have actually gone down in recent years. And it has not happened by magic. It has happened because of certain measures by successive governments. Elimination of level crossings, introduction of more and more LHB coaches, which do not result in casualties in case of a collision, and improvement in track maintenance and even track renewal. These things have led to reduction in accident. But I will again say this is not the time to talk about data. Technology and tools, modern tools are today available to plan for zero accident. If you move towards zero accidents, numbers can further be reduced. These tools are, for example, the Kavach signaling system. Then you have artificial intelligence, which can be used effectively to generate genuine alerts. And because near misses are always 100 times more than actual accidents. Are we monitoring the near misses and bringing in a culture of scrutiny so that everyone becomes alive to the situation and effective measures are taken immediately? Manually, it's very difficult. Today, artificial intelligence is available to use all the data from signaling systems in data loggers of station, as well as the computers of all the trains and locomotives. That is what we should aim at. And I will once again close by saying that the perception is that the number of accidents has gone up. This has happened because the media is more active, particularly social media. It's not as if the number has actually gone up. I'm not defending the number of accidents. Measures have to be taken to reduce them further.
Okay, all right. I want to bring in Mr. RVS Mani into the conversation as well. Mr. Mani, what are your thoughts on some of the train derailments and attempted accidents that have taken place in 2024 itself?
Thank you very much. I will start by saying that if you see to get a sabotage angle, you have to see holistically. It is not the railway accident alone. See, Balasore happened. CRS is whatever Commissioner for Railway Safety, which is independent away from the Ministry of Railways. It is under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. They will be doing their job professionally, everything good, track maintenance, Kavach. That is the one question is, how is it that the Kavach and the investments on railway safety and security is increasing? And in spite of that, such things are happening. That is one part of the story, the accidents. Coupled with what is happening in other segments of the country, other sectors of the country. Now, for example, repeatedly people are rabble-rousing about several other things, whether it is a ethnic conflict, whether it is something else, and also the situation, the security situation in Jammu. Every day we are losing our brave hearts. These are all to be seen in a holistic manner. Then you could be able to draw the dots, because so that is also needs to be factored into it. So, and this is a railway perspective, but we have been having so many disturbances in other places. Some Hindu activists is killed in Punjab. Some brave hearts, I said, are losing out in Jammu. In spite of now the elections have been announced. In spite of that, yesterday a CRPF inspector was lost. So this is and what is happening in other parts of the country, day in and day out. Holistically, if you see, there is a invisible hand. I believe, as a security personnel, I believe there is an invisible hand acting on it. Where from it is coming, whether it is trying to sabotage, disrupt the Indian market, whether it is, see, railways have been doing excellent work in the last few years. As Sudhanshuji himself said, the number of accidents have been reducing. And investments in security and safety infrastructure is also been increasing. So that is one beautiful part of the story. And in spite of that, if the accidents are happening and certain dots in the accident features are very evident that there is some foreign element, somebody who is trying to disrupt the track movement of trains on the track. As he himself said that the iron was formed in the track. So holistically, you have to see, it is not just railway, let's not restrict it to railway. Railway is one part of the story, but every time they are happening something or the other, the disturbances are happening. A juggernaut of development is being disrupted, and those disruptors are being supported by whatever hand, whether it is a stock exchange disruption or this disruption. Or I personally believe even the reduction of NDA to 240 itself perhaps was a design geared to this. That was the first step. And on the day of Modi is taking over as the Prime Minister the third time, Riyasi issues happened. Then subsequently the Jammu area has been affected right, left and center, whether it is Bardua, whether it is Riyasi, whether it is south of Pir Panjal is getting affected. So you have to see holistically. I believe it is a sabotage. I am not alarming anybody. I am not rabble-rousing. It is based on facts from the entire sector of the country. This is certainly a sabotage. We have many enemies in India. As somebody said, 2.5 war. Now it is a forefront war. Internal enemies who are working out, who are the mouthpiece of the disruptors from outside. We have external enemies. We all know who are there. And India as such today is surrounded by most of the hostile country after the Bangladesh issue has come. So you have to see holistically. That is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, I want to bring in Mr. N.K. Sood as well. Mr. Sood, you've heard two opinions. What really is your thought then on what's happened recently? Do you feel that, as Mr. RVS Mani also pointed out, the recent spate of attacks or rather the recent spate of accidents that we've seen in the railway sector is something that needs to be looked at now more holistically rather than simply be labeled as pure coincidence? Mr. Sood, we're unable to hear you, sir. Okay, we will try to fix that audio with Mr. Sood, but I want to take the same question with Ms. Nirmal Kaur if I can. Ms. Kaur, I just want to understand from your perspective. Mr. Sood, I'll come to you in just a moment once your audio is fixed, sir. But Ms. Kaur, I want to understand from you, do you feel that we need to look more holistically at what's happening as far as the railways are concerned? Given that, as Mr. Sudhanshu Mani also pointed out, that there have been, of course, various systems that have been put in place to ensure that the incidence of accidents becomes lesser each year. But despite that, we do see some cases where there are really bizarre reasons as to why a particular derailment took place. For example, in a very recent one, iron rods were found lying. And as Mr. Mani pointed out, that could simply be negligence by the construction workers themselves or somebody else who was working in that area and they've left behind some of the materials. But do you feel somewhere that despite everything that the government is doing to make sure that the railways become 100% of their capacity and that each year we have a better railway system in India, despite all of those measures, the fact that so many accidents have taken place, what is your thought on it, ma'am?
Definitely, if you travel along the countryside, you will see that all along the railway line, on both sides, you have so many Rohingyas, Bangladeshis putting their jhuggis, and they have made permanent settlements after that. There's Midnapur close by. I live in Jharkhand. And Midnapur, the railway line is encroached on both. It's everywhere. But I'm just giving one example, which is really in the eye. The railway line has been encroached on both the sides by these Bangladeshis and Rohingyas. And just about, I would say, less than 200 meters away, they've opened a huge madarsa. So who's coming to the madarsa, who's going, what are the national security concerns, no one knows. And this is not one place it is happening. It is happening at many places. Railway is the biggest landowner, the biggest landlord in the country. And the biggest person, biggest kind of entity also, whose land is most encroached upon, and all for very unholy purposes to settle illegal migrants here. And you see the riverbeds, you see the mountainsides, you see the river, this all along the railway tracks. And I have worked for government for over 40 years, and I can tell you with my personal experience that railway is still the most efficient department of the railways. It's the most efficient department with very dedicated cadre of professional people. They take everything very professionally. But having said that, I must say, that now, the kind of, of course, we have always seen that vandalism has been taking place. When even now you see it, those AC, the glasses that are dark, the window panes that are dark, what are children doing? If the train is passing by, if it slows down, all they are doing is they pick up rocks and throw it on the glasses. So many times you'll see if you travel by AC compartment, railway has to put tapes, as a short-term measure, then they replace the glass eventually. And also, stones are put on the railway line, on the track. Children go and put stones. That is as good a sabotage as any. And also, I think, that gangman patrolling, that's a very, very important tradition of railways. These days, gangman patrolling is not emphasized as much as it was earlier. I think that should be restored.
Okay. All right. I'll come back to you in just a moment, ma'am. I'll come back to you. Mr. N.K. Sood, if I can just take the same question with you, sir. Okay, we've been unable to connect that audio with Mr. N.K. Sood. Mr. Sood, I'll come to you in just a moment. But Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, what really then would be your suggestions to the government as far as further safety is concerned? What would you suggest? What must the government do as far as the priority is concerned?
So I will revisit what I said earlier. So except the recent accident of Sabarmati, where the question is to really find out as to how that rail piece was on the track and whether it indeed caused the derailment. You see, we have seen so many cases where foreign objects, they simply get thrown away by the cow catcher. It's not that a rail piece would cause a derailment of 20 coaches so easily. I'm not discounting it totally, but it needs to be investigated. As far as the security situation in the country is concerned, I'm not an expert on that, so I will not comment on it. But tell me one example since the Balasore accident where a sabotage could actually be proven. They're not one. So I will not easily go with this sabotage angle unless it is established in an inquiry. In several accidents, more than 15 major accidents, sabotage has not been the reason in even one of them. Balasore being the biggest example. It was manipulation by railway staff themselves for quick maintenance. So my suggestion to railways would simply be that instead of immersing themselves in data and so on, yes, improvements have been there thanks to various measures which I told you earlier. It's time to use the tools available to move towards a regime of zero accident. And it's possible. If you make a plan to do that, it's possible that you may have some accident, but accident would certainly reduce. So, and these would include, as I said, to avoid collision, much faster rollout of Kavach. The progress has been abysmal so far. And let me flag one thing very serious. Even in the 1400 kilometer where Kavach has been installed, you can do your investigation, NewsX. You will find that most of the trains are moving with Kavach disabled. God forbid if some collision takes place in that zone, so railways will have a big egg on their face.
But why exactly is that, Mr. Mani?
No, why is that is something you need to investigate. But I've heard that there are locomotives moving with Kavach disabled. Now, it could be, or the locomotives which were fitted with Kavach have left that area and not come back. It's all possible. It may happen because it's a very short stretch and locomotives and trains move all over the country. What I'm saying is that much faster, much focused approach towards rollout of Kavach is required to avoid collisions. And secondly, as I said, near misses need more focus. Near misses in Kanchenjunga accident, for example, there were hundreds of near misses and they were all put under the carpet. If they were examined properly and the instructions which were ambiguous were revised, the accident would not have taken place. So there is a need countrywide use of artificial intelligence to really scrutinize all the near misses and then act on them. There are other safety measures, and this is a fortunate time. You see, railways have no dearth of money. Central government is investing heavily in railways. 2.65 lakh crores is the capex in railways today. So whatever money can be, they can execute and put fast can be done. Money is not going to be a problem. So I would say a more focused approach towards safety is called for.
Okay, I believe, I think we've managed to finally connect with Mr. N.K. Sood. All right, bringing back RVS Mani into the conversation. Mr. Mani, as far as your then suggestions to the government are concerned, what would you suggest? Is there some sort of a priority action list that the government needs to now implement as far as safety of our railway system is concerned?
Indeed, that's important, based on the last few things, especially the tracks being manipulated or whatever, CRS, we cannot wait for a CRS inquiry to conclude that a track if a track, if something has come as a first aid, as a first responder, Madam Nirmal Kaur has been a police officer, they will all know. Reinforce the security on the tracks. How you reinforce it? Whether the RPF is enabled adequately or RPF has got adequate strength, because monitoring the railway property at the station and other places is different from monitoring every inch of the track. Get CISF, they are expert in vital installation security. Have a partnership approach. Let all CAPFs, including the RPF, coordinate with themselves. They will divide their positions so that And number two, as Madam had already pointed out, try to clear all the encroachment on railway land. RLDA, along with the Government of India, has to act. Whatever may be the political compulsion, they have to act with a stronger hand. Get more professional bodies like the security agency. We have 7, 8 CAP, Central Armed Police Forces. Get them all together. Use the intelligence mechanism. Use the local intelligence LIAs of BSF or CRPF. They can also give you a lot of input. Work on intelligence. Try to reinforce wherever the immediate. Have a pool of central paramilitary forces who can RPFs can rely upon or call upon to reinforce wherever they find an intelligence input which is adverse to the or which could be pointing to a challenge to the security of the railway on the tracks or any of the railway property. Bring in the local, their own, see, central, both of them are central agencies. There should be no war of ego or turf war between them. They can. They have a lot of cohesion in the present stage. In fact, 1 or 2 GGs are holding dual charges. So they will have a lot of cohesion. Reinforce it, prevent it. As Mr. Sudhanshu Muni is saying, let us go towards zero accident. On the technical aspects of railway, let railway be left to that. But on the security aspect of the railway, let including the railway RPF, if required, be taken over by MHA and a better coordinated approach, intelligence-based approach to prevent accidents should be taken over immediately. That's what is my submission. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I believe we finally do have Mr. N.K. Sood with us. Mr. Sood, I leave the last word with you. So what are your thoughts on what's happened recently in the railways?
Actually, it's not the question of railways only. It's the national security. Railway is also a national asset. The security situation all over India is quite disturbing. Quite concerned. Indian government is there, although they have taken huge precautions, huge steps they have taken. But today we are being challenged. We are being challenged because we are strong. So people want to target us. I see a internal and foreign hand in all these things that are taking place in India. We have seen what is happening in Jammu. We have seen what has gone wrong in Bangladesh. Similarly, there are people inside India who are not happy with the government. They are out of power. I mean, certain political parties who are quite offensive against the country, who want to harm the country, who want to harm the people of the country. They are not able to digest the progress that India is making. Because our security agencies, they are doing their job, and special instructions have been given to the intelligence agencies also to look for such kind of things, And government is doing. And I think we will be able to control this, check this in a matter of few days or few weeks. But so far, what has happened in the railways is a matter of serious concern. Although railway has taken huge steps in modernizing railways, in strengthening its services, in ensuring that there are minimum accidents, but still these accidents are taking place, and they are the case concern. The concern is the sabotage. Sabotage is a serious issue, and it's like you see that somebody is targeting you at locations which are vulnerable. But I think the government, the way the government is dealing with all these issues, whether the railways or the other agencies, the situation will be really brought into their domain, in control.
Right, absolutely.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.